Welcome to Biz Dev Live. I am so excited to bring you Glenn Lundy today. If you don't know who this man is, I'm so glad that you're getting the introduction. He's somebody that you should know. He's somebody that should be in your network. We're going to be talking about how to get started in your day. Do you have a daily routine? Is that important? I want to hear whether or not you think that's important, because I know Glenn is going to have an opinion on that. And how do you get to that success that you want? How do you level up each day? We're going to be talking about it. Stick with me. Be right back after the Biz Dev Live theme.
Biz Dev Live, Biz Dev Live. Weekdays at 11 Eastern Time, live. Biz Dev Live, Biz Dev Live. Weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration, Biz Dev Live, Biz Dev Live. Business development, not even selling it. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is business development, not even selling it. Business development, not even selling it. Biz Dev Live, Biz Dev Live. Biz Dev Live. This is business development, not even selling it.
So I'm so mad. I got to figure out how to show people while the theme is going on, because Glenn was rocking out over there, having a lot of fun with it. I want to introduce Glenn because if you don't know him, you got to know some of these details as we get into this story. So Glenn Lundy is a husband of one, a father to 8. Glenn has been spotlighted on ABC, NBC, and CBS as an expert in car dealership culture, development, and leadership training. He's been seen on stages at conferences across the country. Glenn has 20 years of experience in the automotive industry and an incredible sales achievement of taking a dealership from 120 cars a month, which is pretty good, to close to 1,000 cars a month in under 5 years, an 800% increase, boosting the used car dealership to number 2 in the United States. Glenn Lundy's unique style makes him one of the most coveted GMs in the business. Glenn Lundy's daily Rise and Grind show on Facebook and LinkedIn and Breakfast with Champions on Clubhouse is demonstrating that Glenn's talents for developing and educating humans goes far beyond the dealership floor. Please welcome to the show the gratitude champion himself, Mr. Glenn Lundy.
Cameron T, what up, man? I am stoked to be here with you today, man. Thank you so much for sharing this space and time with me. I know there's a trillion places that you could be. There's a trillion people, well, I guess 14 billion people that you could be spending this time with, and you chose to spend it with me. It means the world to me, brother. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
Oh, no, thank you. I got some comments coming in. Please let us know where you're tuning in from. I always enjoy knowing where people are coming from. Benny showing up from Miami because he just recently moved down there. Nice to see you, Benny. I know Trevor was in the comments. Restream isn't showing that to me at the moment, so they can't throw you on the screen, Trevor, but so happy you're here tuning in from Texas. Glenn, you have this amazing morning and grind show. You're inspiring people. You're all over the place. What drives you? What is the thing that sort of pushes you forward? I want to get into some of the background story, but what's the one thing, or what's the set of things that sort of just drives you in your productivity? Because you're doing lots of different things. You're flying, 8 kids. What the heck, dude? Tell me what drives you.
Cameron, I was speaking at an event for the the Georgia Realtor Association. And I went on stage and I was like, my name is Glenn Lundy, husband to 1, father to 8. And you should have heard the gasps in the audience. They were like, and there was, I don't know, 1,000 people in the room or something like that. And I was like, does anybody have me beat? And not one person raised their hand. And I was like, wow, man, what a different world we live in nowadays, right? Because it used to be, that was the thing. Like everybody had, big families, lots of kids, so on and so forth. But now it's like this crazy anomaly. But of course, my kids drive me. And I think that as a parent, and all parents understand that our kids drive us in many different ways. But really what it comes down to, Cameron, is if you change the way you start your day, it'll make a massive impact in your life. And that's something that I learned early on. And it's a strategy that I've used when it comes to developing businesses, when it comes to, relationships, coaching, mentorships, those types of things, is that it all starts with how you start your day. It's the most important component. No matter how many successful people I study, or no matter how many books I read, whatever, everybody that has reached super high levels of success, they all have some sort of morning routine that taps into mind, body, and spirit. And so I want to add value onto this planet by helping people change the way they start their day, ultimately making sure that people are starting their day with motivation, education, and inspiration, as I feel it is incredibly important to your health. And I want to leave a mark, man. I want to leave a legacy where people go, you know what? That guy helped me change the way I start my day, and it made a massive impact in my life.
I love that. And so I read the bio, you have a lot of experience in the car dealership industry. What inspired you to kind of go that route in terms of getting into cars and sales? And I want to, because what you're doing right now with the media impresario, the building of the empire right now is a little bit of a different track. And I certainly see where the two coincide. I talked a little bit about that in the bio, just being able to develop humans. But how did you get into the car industry? And then we'll evolve that picture.
Well, the car industry would take me. So let's just start there, right? That's what I love about the auto industry, man. Like, if you got a pulse and you're willing to get out there, they'll give you a shot, man. The auto industry is known for giving people a shot that other people won't give a shot to. But ultimately, I got into the car business off of an ad. I saw an ad in a newspaper. A girl that I had recently met. It was so crazy, Cameron. I met this young lady, and her and I started dating. And I shook her hand. I was like, "Hi, my name is Glenn Lundy." And she was like, "Hi, my name is Isabel." And next thing you know, she was pregnant, dude. It was crazy. I don't know. It just seems to happen in my world. I shake hands, people get pregnant. So I had a kid on the way. I was in college at the time, but college wasn't really my jam. So I was kind of just like there to party and chase girls. And so I dropped out of college and originally I got into the world of sales, working at a call center it was America Online, had hired this call center to call people that had canceled their America Online accounts and try to get them back by offering free America Online. Now, for those of you that are young and have no idea what that is, back in the day, you couldn't get on the internet unless you had a service. You had to pay a monthly fee, not for your Wi-Fi, but to actually browse the internet. And so we had to go through America Online at the time and some other services. So I started in that, really was good at it, but did not enjoy it. And I was in the break room. I saw an ad in the paper that said, make $5,000 a month guaranteed. And Cameron, I was like, bro, $5,000 a month? Are you kidding me? I could get a Lambo. I could buy a house on the beach. Like, to me, $5,000 a month was all the money in the world. And so I went and I applied, and it happened to be a Nissan Subaru dealership in Flagstaff, Arizona. They hired me on the spot. I started the very next Monday. I started just a couple of days later, and fast forward, now here it is, 23 years I've been in this awesome industry that I love, called the car business.
I love that. And so you got into this for the opportunity. What's the opportunity that you're seeing now that you've been in the industry, you've had success, you've been on these conference stages, because obviously you're starting some different things. So what's the opportunity now? Why are you doing what you're doing with the Rise and Grind show? You're all over Clubhouse. What's the opportunity there?
Well, there's more to life than just going to work and collecting a paycheck.
There you go.
And I really look at one of my heroes, as far as I've studied so many successful humans, and the most successful, I think, To me, and I think that the numbers back it up, but the most successful, well-known, and impactful human to ever walk the earth was this guy named Jesus. Now, no matter what you believe religiously, if you just look at the numbers and the stats, number one best-selling book of all time, 3.6 billion copies would be the Bible, followed secondly by Harry Potter series at 750 million, to give you an example of the gap and the impact that Jesus was able to make with his life back in a time where, bro, if he wanted an audience of like 10 people, he had to like slap on the sandals, jump on a donkey, go across a desert, 10, 15 miles, battle. He had to battle hunger. He had to battle threats of people wanting to kill him at every turn, dehydration, different disease. They didn't have medicines. They didn't have all of these things. Like, he literally had to get up in the morning and walk miles, right, to get an audience to sit down to spread a message of hope and a message of love. And he was able to completely transform, our world and humanity as a whole. This one man with this belief and this mission. And so I look at that every day, Cameron, and I'm just like, bro, I don't even have to be wearing pants right now. And you wouldn't even know. I don't even have to be wearing pants. And here I am in my air conditioned, thing. I click a button and it streams out to here and to here and to here and to here. I've got access to 14 billion ears and access to so much information. And it's like, whoa, man. I feel an obligation and a responsibility to make sure that when I'm long gone, that people go up to my kids and say, hey, your dad made an impact, a positive impact in my life. And I feel like it's so easy now. Like, and people say, oh, it's so hard, it's hard to get out there and there's so much noise and you got to learn technology and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, that ain't hard. Dude, what Jesus had to do, that was hard. That was hard. And if he could do it back then, we can do it now.
It's such a common thread, right? The excuses that people put up, the lies that people tell themselves about how hard things are right now in this moment. And not to say that people aren't struggling, man. I mean, I think that
no doubt.
That's something that lights me up and gets me up in the morning. I may not be the most successful person in the world, but I know how lucky I am. I know you know how lucky you are. I love that you're spreading this message. I love that you're pushing this thing out here. What to you, you could have focused on a lot of things. You've been in sales. You've pushed, organizations to higher places. What specifically about the morning routine, how people are getting up? Why is that the focus of your message versus anything else? I mean, we talk about Jesus treating other people the way that you want to be treated. There's a lot of different places that you could go with your message. Why this message of the morning routine? Why specifically that?
Yeah, because it works, man. And I'm a results guy, it works. And I think it's easy for people to grasp and to implement and execute on, right? It's just simply a choice, right? You need a morning routine that taps into mind, body, and spirit, those three components. What that looks like for you, it can vary for everyone. How you tap into your spirituality is your jam. How you like to work out or whatever is your jam, right? I'm not trying to put it, I'm not saying you have to do P90X. You have to eat this specific food. You can't eat from this hour to this hour. Like, it doesn't have to be hard, right? Like, mind, body, spirit, tap into those three things every single morning and you will get results. And what I love about it is if you change the way you start your day with your kids, you'll have a better relationship with your kids. Yeah. If you change the way your business starts the day, like if your company literally looks at how does your company start, right? And I use the auto industry because that's where I'm most versed, right? In the auto industry, most dealerships, here's how they start their day. Most dealerships. So-and-so shows up at whatever time. after hanging out all night, playing Fortnite with their buddies and drinking beers. They show up at whatever time, kind of groggy, first thing in the morning, they trickle in. Then they meet with their friend and they talk about what they did last night. Then after they get done talking about what they did last night, then they talk about what they're going to eat for breakfast. Then they decide who's going to go get breakfast. Then somebody goes and gets breakfast. They come back, they sit and eat breakfast, and they talk about what they did last night. And by the time they're done with breakfast and talking and they're actually ready to get to work, it's almost time for lunch. And so by the time we actually get real productivity in most dealerships, it's like 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. And then these guys are working till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and they don't
there's long
why
hours.
they have to work all night, right? It's long hours. But they're creating this. And we've told ourselves that, well, the consumer prefers to do business later in the evening and blah, 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 blah. The reality is we weren't ready to go at 8:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. when we could have been doing business at that point. So if we change the way our business starts today, and we start it with some motivation, some education, some inspiration, we get everybody in a room, we hold people accountable, we give them a reason to show up and be ready and to already have eaten breakfast and already taken care of themselves and already had those discussions. Now we increase efficiencies. So now I got a dealership that's running from 8:30 in the morning until 8:30 at night. That's going up against businesses, dealerships that are running from 2 in the afternoon till 8:30 at night. Who's going to win? We get a head start every time. So you can apply it in a business. You can apply it in relationships. You can apply it to yourself. And that's why I think it's such a powerful message for me to be able to deliver, because it's easily consumable. Anybody can apply it, and it gets results no matter where you put it.
All right. So I'm going to throw up on the screen here the morning 5, just so people have this frame of reference, right? And do you want to walk people through this real quick? The morning 5?
Yeah, sure. So these are the 5 steps that I do each and every single day. These are also 5 steps that I've taught to hundreds of thousands of people around the world that they've been able to get results from. And again, you do you, boo, but this is a nice little template. If you're just getting started in the world of morning routines, I know that this works. So step 1, no snooze button. The snooze button is literally the devil. It is the greatest salesperson of all time. The snooze button tells you, here's what the snooze button says. Hey, push me, sleep for 10 more minutes, 4 more minutes, 7 more minutes, 9 more minutes, whatever you have your setup at, and you'll actually feel more rested. But yet, we all know that's never the case. We never go, oh my gosh, that extra 6 minutes made all the difference. Never. You just wake up more groggy. It's a lie. So we don't want to use the snooze button. And there's tons of science behind that. The second step is no phone first thing in the morning. The phone that you own, that is now an extension of who we are, this thing right here is filled with 2 things. It's filled with problems and it's filled with igniters. So when you grab your phone first thing in the morning, what you have to understand from a scientific standpoint is your brain is firing like on all cylinders. The first hour of the day, your brain's going, where am I? Am I alive? Am I awake? What am I going to do today? Who's in the bed next to me? Am I safe? All of these things, right? So when you grab this thing first thing in the morning, you become immediately responsive. Your energy will literally shift to whatever's in here. And we all know what's in here. You're going to get an email because somebody posted a bad review about your company. You're going to get a text message because somebody got sick, somebody died, somebody called in, somebody whatever. It's all going to be bad. You're going to get news. You're going to get media. You're going to get COVID. You're going to get politics. You're going to get people got fired. You're going to get murder. You're going to get theft. You're going to get robbery. You're going to get all this stuff. You're going to get all of that right here in your phone. You know it's true because that's what you get every single day. And we're going to shift our energy to a negative space first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Grabbing your phone first thing is one of the most detrimental things to your health that you could possibly do. So number 2 is no phone first thing in the morning. Number 3 is gratitude and goals. Write down your gratitude. I write down 10 things that I'm thankful for, and then I write down 10 goals. My goals are daily, weekly, daily, monthly, and long-term goals. And that sounds like 2 steps, but the reason I call that 1 step, gratitude and goals, is I think that everyone knows and understands and has been told they need to write their goals, and yet 80% of people don't. And I think the reason 80% of people don't isn't because those 80% don't want to achieve their goals. It's because they probably tried at some point and it really created a negative experience. Cameron, if I wake up in the morning and I write, I wish I had a bigger house. I wish I had more money. I wish I was better looking. If I wake up and I write those things down, that can create a negative. It makes me feel less than, as though what I have is not enough, right?
Yeah.
And that's simply not the case. Whereas if we start with gratitude, I'm thankful I have a roof over my head. I'm thankful I woke up today because a lot of people didn't, right? I'm thankful that my bills are paid and my lights are on.
Yeah.
Then we can stretch our goals. We can go to goals from there. We can go, okay, bigger house would be great, but I'm good with what I got, right? More money would be awesome, but I'm grateful for where I'm at. It's a different energy. So gratitude and goals is number 3. Number 4 is take care of the physical. And again, I don't care what you do. You can play golf. You can play pickleball. Apparently that's a thing now, pickleball. I just got a pickleball set delivered to me for Christmas from a friend, right? Play pickleball. Go for a walk. I don't care. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. Get the body moving. Get the blood flowing. Get the heart pumping. And once we've done these 4 things, now, Cameron, I want you to understand, step 1 through 4, you've been incredibly selfish at this point. Like, you are an incredibly selfish person. No snooze, no phone. You won't answer anybody's calls, anybody's emails. You're writing down the things you're thankful for, your goals. You're taking care of your body. You've been incredibly selfish. And congratulations, because it's the only time of your day that you're going to be selfish. I know it, because you're a performer and you're going to be responding to your kids, to your spouse, to your employer, or to your employees the rest of the day. So congratulations on being very selfish first thing in the morning. And now you've created a positive vibration, positive energy. Step 5, send out an encouraging message. You need to release that positive energy out into the universe. And I don't care if that's a sticky note on the mirror for someone you love. Maybe you go whisper into your kid's ear. Maybe it's someone you see in line at Starbucks. I don't care how you release it. Send a Facebook message, send a text, whatever you got to do. Release the energy out into the universe. And here's why this is so incredibly important, Cameron, from a scientific standpoint. And I know I'm talking a lot, but this is good stuff. From a scientific standpoint, energy that exists on this planet is the exact same amount of energy that has existed from day 1. Energy does not dissipate, nor can it be created. It can only be converted. This is why we have windmills that catch the wind and can turn that into electricity. It's a conversion process. When you release positive energy out into the universe, not only does it make a positive impact on the person that receives that message, but that energy has no choice but to be converted and ultimately come back to you. This is why every historical text, biblical text, or religious text talks about how you get back what you release, right? Like it says you'll get back tenfold, whatever it is that you put out, right? This is actually scientific principle. So we do the steps: no snooze, no phone, gratitude and goals, take care of the physical. Then we release positive energy out into the universe. And when you do those 5 things every single day, it'll make a massive, massive impact in your life.
I love this so much, because I think, and I struggle with it, because I know I'm supposed to get up earlier, and I know that writing down, I know when I do it, it really works. What advice do you have for those folks that are struggling to go to bed on time, to actually get these things done? What's some of the motivators that you've worked with people to sort of find, hey, this is the switch. This is how you hit that switch so that you can start this up?
Yeah, you really got to prioritize it, right? And just so everyone knows and understands, I don't care what time you wake up. What matters is that you wake up with enough time to do your morning 5. That's what matters. Everybody has different schedules. Some people work late at night and sleep during the day. People work 3rd shift, right? They go to bed at 7 o'clock in the morning and get up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you have to wake up, before sunrise or any of those things. You just got to wake up with enough time for you to be able to do those 5. Now, in order to be able to wake up at the right time, you got to go to bed at the right time. In order to
Hello.
know what time, yeah, and in order to know what time to go to bed, you have to have an understanding of sleep cycles.
Yeah.
So what I do when I'm first, someone's comes to me and says, "Hey, I really want to get a morning routine solidly in place." What is the first step? One of the first steps is understanding your sleep cycle. This is a superpower. So we as humans, we sleep in cycles, right? We have light sleep, then we go into an REM sleep, then we go into a deep sleep, then we go back to REM, and then back to light. Most of these cycles take anywhere between 90 minutes and 3 hours is about the average sleep cycle. The reason we sleep this way is back in the day, before we had ADT security systems and locks on our door, it didn't make sense to go into a coma for 8 hours, okay? You might get eaten by like a saber-toothed tiger or something, which I'm just kidding. I know that we didn't exist at the same time. At least I don't think we did. But it just wasn't safe. So we sleep in cycles. Once you know your cycle, then you can then stack cycles and you can do backwards math. My cycles are 2 hours and 10 minutes each cycle. So I sleep either 2 hours and 10 minutes, like if I'm on the West Coast and I have to get up early, but I also have to entertain guests the night before, I'll sleep 2 hours and 10 minutes. I won't sleep 3 hours because then I'm super groggy. I'm waking up mid-cycle. It doesn't work. I might sleep through an alarm. I might screw up. I might whatever. So I'll stay up later so that I can get up earlier, which sounds crazy, right? It's like turn left to go right in the Cars movie. I'll stay up later to go, but it's all about staying within cycle. So 2 hours and 10 minutes sometimes, or I sleep 4 hours and 20, or I
So,
sleep 6
so
hours
you're,
and
you're
30.
you're you're speaking a foreign language to me. So I imagine if it sounds foreign to me, it might sound foreign to some other folks. So how
Love
do you
it.
go about finding out this cycle and rhythm and sort of discovering that?
Yeah, beautiful, man. So there's something called a Whoop strap, which is a great place to start. There's also apps that, or if you have a smartwatch or anything like that, there's apps that you can pull up to monitor your sleep cycles. That'll get you close. It's not going to dial it in specifically. It'll get you close. Once you get close, right, you get an idea of when you're in REM, when you're in deep sleep, all of those things. Once you get close, then it's just a matter of starting to really tweak your bedtime, right? Your bedtime and your wake time. So you can tweak it 15 minutes and see how you feel. It's all about how you feel. When I wake up after 2 hours and 10 minutes or 4 hours and 20 or 6 hours and 30, when I wake up, feet hit the ground and I am awake. I am alert. I am rested and I am recharged. I don't drink coffee. I don't have any caffeine in my diet whatsoever. I wake up alert, recharged, and ready to go. If you're waking up groggy, still sleepy, so on and so forth, you don't feel rested, then you're waking up in the middle of a cycle somewhere, right? And so that's really the key determining factors. Get an estimate using technology and then start to dial it in 15 minutes at a time to where you wake up, boom, ready to rock and roll.
So do you normally sleep 6 or 7 hours a night, or are you going like talk to me about what the regular routine is for Glenn Lundy?
Yeah, so a standard routine for me, if I'm home and it's work week, I'm home, kids, those types of things, it's 4 hours and 20 minutes a night is what I sleep. So
Really?
yeah, man. So I go to bed at 11 p.m. and I wake up at 3:20 a.m. That is my standard process. Now I only get up at 3:20 a.m. because I have a morning show. So I have to do my morning five, right? I get to do my morning five. And then once I'm done with my morning
I
five,
like, and I want to go back to what you just said right there, right? So you switched it up, right? You heard yourself saying something and you switched it up. So talk to me real quick. I want to go back to your routine here, but I love that because it's that self-talk, right? It's stuff, it's putting the things that we are trying to help other people with in action for ourselves. So I heard you do it. So I just wanted to call it out there. You said, I have to, and then you said, I get to, right? So talk to me about that.
well, our words matter. Words have energy, man. Words have energy, and nobody wants to do something that they have to do. But we all feel privileged when we get to do something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so changing that verbiage shifts the energy, which then ultimately shifts the response. I get to wake up at 3:20 in the morning and I get to do my morning five, and then I get to write a show, and then I get to go to my studio at 5:15 in the morning, and I get to deliver a show live to thousands of people around the world. That's a blessing, man. I was homeless once, Cameron.
Mm.
I spent a season of my life homeless, and when I was homeless, the worst part of homelessness, Cameron, it wasn't that I didn't have a roof over my head. It wasn't that I didn't have money or I didn't have food. All those things sucked, right? But the worst part was I was invisible. Like, you become invisible when you're homeless. People don't want to make eye contact with you.
Yeah.
They're afraid you're going to ask them for money or mug them or whatever reasons that they have. But they start to look above you, below you, to the left of you, to the right of you. They won't look at you, and you just start to blend in. And it's the worst feeling in the world. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, man. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. So the fact that people see me now, they talk to me, they comment to me, they respond to me. My wife sees me, my kids hug me, my mom loves me, right? Like, the fact that I am seen is such an incredible, incredible gift. So getting up at 3:20 a.m., I get to do that, and I get to share my mornings with people around the world. And that, my friend, is a tremendous blessing. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that, because our words will say have to, and I don't have to do nothing. I get to, and that's what's amazing.
So I want to focus on this because I think this is all great, a part of the routine. I want to go delve into the story a little bit. Success attracts success. We know that, right? You got a lot of followers. You got, he's got a nice car. He's dressed nice. Oh, look at his shoes. Glenn, look at his shoes. Look at Glenn's shoes. They look good, right? And we know that. When you were homeless and people weren't seeing you, in my brain, I automatically went to, if success attracts success, a lot of people that have the negative language, that are commiserating around the water cooler. If you're an entrepreneur, the show is really designed for entrepreneurs. If you're getting onto a networking call, you're on some sort of communication with the client, your language and how that reflects who you are, what you're doing, how your mindset is around what you're doing is all presented there in the language, right? And success will attract the success. When you're on the outs, when you're having challenges, when things are low, if success attracts success, I imagine the challenges, the low state attracts other low states. Because I imagine, I don't know the extent of your story, but I want to dive a little bit into it. The people that did see you, were they trying to help you? The people that did see you, were they seeing somebody that they could partner with, associate with, or were they seeing somebody they could take advantage of? And I think that's something too with the language, right? It shifts the way other people's want to treat you, react to you, use you, abuse you, all of these different things. Tell me a little bit about how because obviously I'm thinking the morning routine wasn't in place when these challenging things, the attitude wasn't there. What got you to this low place, and sort of what were some of the things that took you out of it?
Well, the biggest thing that got me to that low place, Cameron, is I was living a 2D life, right? So I had a very Darwinistic approach on life back then. And it was very 2D. And when I say 2D, I mean mind and body. If it looked good and it felt good, the answer was yes, right? So, sex, drugs, rock and roll, party, gambling, all those stuff. If it looked good and it felt good, the answer was yes. And that included mixing that mindset with a Darwinistic approach, putting those two things together. I took advantage of a lot of people. The closer we were relationally, the higher the risk was that I would get over on you at some point. Like, that's just how I saw things. It was very dog eat dog. And if I got over on you, that was your fault because you were weaker, right? And that's really how I lived my life for a while. I was very egotistical. I had a lot of issues as far as anger, and I used to like to fight a lot. All of those things. And so that type of person obviously repels people quickly, and word gets around. And so it was only a matter of time before, I had just burned every bridge. I had burned every relationship, and I could talk my way into things But once I got in there, I would lose people's trust, and once you lose people's trust, it's a tough road going back. And so what got me there was a 2D lifestyle and a Darwinistic approach. What got me out of that situation was a revelation that happened. Homelessness led me to hopelessness. Hopelessness led to depression. Depression led to suicidal thoughts. Suicidal thoughts led to a suicide attempt, where I attempted to drown myself in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of La Jolla, California. And in failing through that, clearly I failed at that. Otherwise, this would be your most watched interview ever. But I failed at taking my own life. And in failing at that, I came to this realization that a mentor of mine, Jason Kitts, used to tell me all the time, but I didn't really understand what it meant. And he used to say, Glenn, you take yourself wherever you go. And that finally hit, like, oh, wait, I've lived in all these different cities, all these different states. I've had all these different relationships, that I've been around all these different groups of people, but yet the result continues to be the same, right? So what is the constant? Oh, well, the constant is Glenn. I'm the one that keeps burning bridges. I'm the one that keeps screwing up relationships. I'm the one that keeps taking advantage of people. And so once I realized that I was the catalyst for all things negative in my life, then Cameron, me being a student, I was like, wait a minute, does that mean I could be a catalyst of good things in my life? And once I asked that question, then I wanted to go seek answers. And the only way I could find the answer is I had to figure out who I was. Like, where does this power come from? Why do we have this ability to create an existence around us? Like, why do we have this ability to draw and attract, like you were talking about? Like, where does that come from? Who are we? And I started to study who I was. And that study took me through an interesting path. I actually studied Scientology for about 6 months at the Orange County Church of Scientology. And in there, I learned a ton about communication skills. I learned about these things called engrams, which are these traumatic moments that are stuck in our subconscious mind that are guiding a lot of our direction. I learned so much about myself, but the craziest thing I learned in Scientology was that we are actually spiritual beings, 3D, mind, body, and spirit. And so I was
I just want to pause for 1 second, Glenn, because
Yeah.
there might have been some folks that watched this and said, "Oh, Glenn, Scientology? But didn't he just have some Christian, thoughts and wasn't he just talking about some stuff?" And I want to stress the 2D thing, and also I just want to just throw on the screen, and whenever somebody mentions suicide, I just want to let you know help is available, right?
Oh, yeah.
You get. You have Glenn here, you have myself, you got people that you can reach out to. We're going to answer that call. We're going to answer that text message. That's what our life is about. We're about helping people. So you got us. You got the 800-273-8255 national hotline for suicide prevention. Help is available to you. I just wanted to mention that. This goes out on podcasts and everything, so I wanted to say it as well as display it on the screen here. But the idea that you can pull wisdom from more than one source, from more than one political platform, from more than one place. Whoa. Right. So I just wanted to call that out there because I think that's a big, big deal. Wherever you're getting your wisdom, it doesn't matter if it's smart, right? It just doesn't matter if it's smart and if it's real and it makes sense and it works. So I just wanted to throw out there. So you're studying Scientology, you're getting into this. Keep us going through this story. And I also just want to shout out because I love people in the comments, and we got Tracy Brown saying, I'm always telling my children we get to, not we have to. So powerful. Josh is Josh Judy definitely is looking for more information on this 4-hour sleep. I feel I can't get no less than 7. So we definitely want to come back to that. But so you're on this journey, you're learning some of these pieces of wisdom, Ingram's Scientology. What's going on?
Yeah, man. So I love that you mentioned, we can extract wisdom in different ways. And, I'm a firm believer that we all have our own unique path to spiritual connection and understanding. My God, my God is not a God that's in a box. Period. I don't feel as though God should be boxed in, and that there's only one way for our Father that loves us to draw us to Him. And so I studied Scientology for about 6 months, and that's when it shocked me, because I was this Darwinistic, total, non-believer in God, science person, like, show me the facts. And here I am in Scientology, and they're talking about a spiritual aspect of humans. And I'm like, well, this is a trip. Now, ultimately, Scientology itself, after about 6 months, it wasn't the best path, like, for me. And so I started to explore some other paths, right? I studied Buddhism, I studied Catholicism, I studied Christianity. And ultimately, for me, I found my way to spiritual connection through studying the life of Jesus, and through Christianity and the Christian church is how I found my path. But that was what, in response to your question, Cameron, of what got me out of that space, is I started to realize that we as human beings are 3D, not 2D. We are mind, body, and spirit. So if it looks good and it feels good and it is good, then the answer is yes. And when you add that last part, it changes everything. And so my life went from one of, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't overnight, right? Like, this was a period of years of 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, right?
Yeah.
Because we're just habitual humans. But once my life went to, instead of this Darwinistic, I'm going to, take from you, to, oh, looks good, feels good, is good. Is this good for you and me? Is it good for you and me? And is it good for you, me, and anyone else involved? And if the answer is yes, it's good for everybody, then I'm in 100%. But if the answer is no, it's only good for me and it's not good for you, then it's not aligned, and I'm out. And so that shift is what got me from homeless, suicidal, depressed, and alone, to now I've got a beautiful bride and 8 beautiful children and 3 businesses and all of the things, because it's a mindset of serving versus a mindset of taking.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to get into a couple of things, but I have so many questions. I'm trying to sort out what's priority in my head. But let's go to the viewers here, right? So Josh Judy's saying, how did you get to the 4-hour sleep? I feel like I can go no less than 7. So let's answer that one, and then I got some more stuff to throw at you.
So what Josh Judy is talking about there is, Josh Judy is used to sleeping about 3 sleep cycles. And because 7 hours, you figure 90 minutes to 3 hours per cycle. So he's probably, if 7 hours is his jam, just doing some backwards math, he's probably on a 2-hour and 20-minute sleep cycle, right? So 2 hours, 20 minutes, 4 hours, 40 minutes, or 7 hours is when he feels best. And he's just gotten used to sleeping 7 hours. That's just the habit. But I guarantee you, there's been times in Josh's life where he's woken up 2 hours and 20 minutes before his alarm clock and felt refreshed and was like, why am I wide awake? I need to go back to bed, right? We've all had those moments where we wake up in the middle of the night and you're just wide awake and you don't understand why. It's because you woke up at peak cycle time, where you were literally in that cycle. So Josh, the only way to go to 7, from 7 to 4, and it won't be exactly 7 and it won't be exactly 4, is to know that cycle and make sure you're not waking up in the middle. 5.5 hours, you'll feel tired. 6 hours, you'll feel tired. 6.5, you'll feel tired. But 4.5, you might feel perfect. And so you just got to do those tests.
So I know there's a certain amount of sleep that I'll get and I'll just wake up automatically. And so usually if I'm to bed 10-ish, 10, and I'm waking up before my alarm clock rings at 4:30. I know if I do that. Now, I don't often get myself to do that, especially these days at the start of the year. I've been working on projects. It's been crazy. And I've just been working through the night and I'm not getting that sleep that I need, but I need to get back to it because I feel better when I'm doing the day right, when I'm getting the day started right. And I think that's something that for anybody that's watching this, if you can just say that to yourself, right, you feel better. So create those boundaries for yourself. Know when to say no, know when to
That's
turn
right.
the computer off, especially working from home, know when to
Yeah.
turn the computer off, shut it down, and go do what you need to do to, self-care, right?
Oh yeah, man. Your performance will increase. The more efficient you are with your sleep, the more efficient you are throughout the day. So if you think about you and I as competition, okay, which I don't usually think in those terms very often, but if you think of you and I as competition, if I'm sleeping 4 hours and 20 minutes a night, right? And at peak performance, and you're kind of off and on here and there, I'm functioning at peak levels. What is that? 19 hours and 40 minutes a day
Mm.
and so I'm running 19 hours and 40 minutes a day. It's very hard for you to keep up with me, period. And in most cases, you're most likely going to get lapped, right? Because I'm running
Yeah.
19 hours and 40 minutes and feel great about it. And you might have a good couple days where you're running no sleep, but then you're crashing for 4 days. And so it's a matter of being super efficient with that time, and that requires you to be super efficient with your sleep.
And let me ask you just one more question on this sleep thing, so we get this. So if you sleep 4 hours and 20 minutes a night, or 2 hours and 20 minutes a night, whatever that piece is that's optimal for you, are you taking a nap? Are there days where you like, I'm tuckered and you gotta, lay down for 2 hours and 20 minutes because I've met my limit?
Now I'm really gonna blow your mind, Cameron. So yes, every once in a while I will take naps, but my naps are 17 minutes.
17 minutes. Okay.
17 minutes. So a 17-minute nap will not allow you to get into a deep sleep space, right? So if we go or really into an REM space, it shouldn't. Some people can, but for the most part, anything over 17 minutes, you're going to start to go into that next sleep cycle, and it'll actually make you more tired. That's why when you nap for an hour, you're more groggy, and then you just want to go back to bed, and so on and so forth. So yeah, 17 minutes, little cat naps. I'll pop those every once in a while, but usually those are caused by what I eat, to be honest. If I eat crap at lunch,
Mm.
then around 2, 3 o'clock, I'll be like, oh my gosh, and I'll pop a quick 17-minute nap and then get back at what I'm doing. So food really plays a big role with that.
All right, so let's stick on that for a second because I know that's going to create a question for anybody listening, watching. Right? What does Glenn Lundy eat?
Oh man, most of the time junk. I wish I could say I was better about it. That's how I know that it's the food that causes my problems. I'm not. I'm definitely not the poster boy for healthy eating. I do not eat very healthy at all. I am getting a little bit better in my older age, but I will say my time windows of eating are a little bit better than most. So some would call it intermittent fasting or those
Mhm.
types of things. But I keep my physique kind of the way it is between my activity in the morning and then really not. I don't gorge food like all day. Like I might go till 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon before I'll eat anything. And then, have dinner at night and go another 16 hours without any food. So that's intermittent fasting to me is better than depleting myself of the things that I enjoy, like Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because so many people talk about getting into the morning the healthy nutrition and it's most important meal for the day. But I think you got to do a little bit of what works for you. The moment I
Right.
start eating, I don't want to stop. So it's tea or coffee for me, and then it's lunchtime or a little bit after what traditional lunchtime, very much like yourself. That's when I eat. The danger problem for me is again, when I start eating, I don't want to stop. So if I get into that late night thing and I'm tired, the body starts craving things because I'm tired and I'm not going to sleep.
Right.
And I should
Right.
have just set it down, but then I'm
Right.
diving into the food, and the love handles don't love it. The love handles
I
do
feel you
not
on
love
that. I
it.
feel you on that, man. I put on 19 pounds. I know this is bad to even say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I put on the COVID-19, right?
Mm,
It was 19 pounds of ice cream because my wife and I were sitting in bed every single night pounding ice cream while we were watching episodes of Everybody Loves Raymond, trying to figure out what the heck was going on in the world. And so that first year, I blew up, bro. Broke 200 pounds. I was like, dang, I'm the heaviest I've ever been in my life. But that has been remedied. No more black raspberry ice cream at 10
shut
p.m.
it down.
like we were doing. Yeah, we had to shut that down.
All right, so talk to me. You have a lot going on. 8 kids. You're a good day. I was listening the other day. You were talking about your daughter's birthday, and she was giving you some mess about being away on her actual birthday,
Yeah, yeah,
getting the hard dialogue from little people. You don't
yeah,
love
man.
me as much as you love the people that you're serving and working for.
That's
I
right.
For anybody that hasn't checked out Rise and Grind Breakfast with Champions, you got to check out the show. Glenn does an amazing job. He's got musical guests on there. Scott, I got another question talking about stuff that they were talking about this morning.
Sure.
It brings up a lot. I wish I had enough time that I could digest, because I'm trying to live by that, not having the phone on and the videos on, trying to focus. But when I
Right.
tune in, you can tell I'm into it, and I'm listening to the stories. It's engaging material. So how do you stay productive and be a good father, a good husband, and push forward social media all over the place? You're building the brand. And I encourage people. I'm asking Glenn about his kids, and I'm asking about other stuff going on, but I'm encouraging people to sort of look to folks like Glenn. You're building a brand. You've built a business around the car dealerships and that knowledge, but you are building a brand around your name. Ramon Ray, who I have to credit with introducing me, because I don't know if it wasn't for Ramon Ray, I don't know if I would have saw the Rise and Grind show. He's a great promoter. He's all about personal brand. You do an amazing job with personal brand. When we talk about personal brand, though, it's not just business, not just social media. It's especially and most importantly, you got 8 little ones, father to one, or father one, husband to one, father to
Right.
8. That's where brand, I think a lot of people get tied up and like, I want to be a business success, and then they're not happy in their personal lives. You
Right.
seem to figure this out. How are you, controlling that personal brand with your family, as well as doing all the personal branding things outside?
Yeah, man. It's a combination of understanding the difference between the word spending and the word investing. And here's what I mean by that. You'll hear it all the time in the business world. We say, we're going to invest in this company. We're going to invest in this strategy. We're going to invest in this new technology. We're going to invest in equipment for our business, invest in the stock market, invest in owning your own home, right? We use the word invest in the world of business all of the time. And the word investment implies that we expect an ROI. We want a return on that investment. Otherwise, we don't want to invest in it, right? And at the same time, we will hear conversations where we say, I'm going to spend time with my kids. I'm going to spend time with my spouse. I'm going to spend time at home. I'm going to spend some of my vacation days, right? We use the word spend. Spend is inherently a negative word. If you spend $5 your account goes down. It doesn't go up, and you don't expect it to go up. We don't expect an ROI when we spend. We expect an ROI when we invest. I invest time with my spouse. I invest time with my kids. I invest time on vacation. I invest time at home, right? I invest in the people that are building this company with me. It's all an investment to me. My time is an investment. I invest time in sleep, right? I am expecting a return. And if you expect a return, when you expect a return, you now raise yourself to a certain responsibility and accountability level, right? And you start to measure your ROI. So I look and go, do I have good relationships with my kids? If I don't have good relationships with my kids, whose fault is that? That's not their fault. It means that I'm not nurturing my investment, right? Maybe I'm doing more spending than I am investing. And so just by shifting that word from spend to invest, we talked about this earlier, the power of words, from spending to investing, I've been able to build very, very, very strong relationships, both in the business world and outside of the business world, because I look at it all the same. It's an investment in relationships, whether it be spouse, wife, client, any of those spaces. It's always an investment. So that would be my strategy, Cameron, that I hope helps you understand how we're able to create the way we're able to create.
I love that mindset shift, right? It's not making time or spending time. I have to etch this out. I need to invest time. And for folks that aren't investing, right, with the money side, you're not going to be successful if you're not investing your money right. You're not going to be successful if you're not investing your time right. I love that. I love that a lot.
And bro, different kids require different investment levels, right? Just like if I go invest in a brand new startup company, it's going to take a lot more time and energy than if I go invest in a company that's already built and, I can just go invest 10 grand into their stock, right? And it's the same thing at home. Like my daughter, Willow, her time investment, she doesn't want to hang out with dad for more than about 5 minutes, but she wants her 5 minutes now. So if I give her 5 minutes right now versus pushing her off, if I give her the 5, she's done and gone. She feels fulfilled.
If you push it out, the storm builds.
The storm builds, exactly. Whereas my son Joel, he requires a different investment. He likes more time with dad. He wants to go do the fishing or go to a football game or whatever. So you got to manage your investments to where you're getting that ROI, just like you would anything else.
I love that. And I think that applies to the business side too, right? So you can apply it parenting, you can apply it to your customers. How do you, now you're a really good team builder. You've done that in the dealership side. You're doing it. I'm really, really impressed. Rise and Grind. You got this team of social media all-stars that you built. They're rocking and rolling this morning. It's a machine. Scott was talking about, and this is something I'm going to dive into too, because we're at time here, but I just want to get these in here and get. Are you good with time? You good for a minute?
Yeah, I think I just got a message that my 12 o'clock canceled. Let me verify that. Yeah, 12 o'clock canceled, so I am okay to run over.
All right, so I'm going to try to get this done in 5 minutes because I know people are watching and all this, but I think these are good questions. So
yeah, we're good.
So Scott was talking about, Amazon's taking over the world, and that challenges mom and pop businesses, and so they're going. They've done the digital thing, and they're going into brick and mortar, and so what that brought up is mom and pop businesses, and Lolita was talking about the idea here that if you are running a business, are you serving your customers? Because there's a reason that you're going to, a business that's serving, a business that's doing the right things. And there's lots of challenges in the environment. I don't want to belittle anybody's challenges, economies of scale, government, why am I doing healthcare as a business, all these kinds of things that go into it. It's not a 2D world, like, as using your words before, right? There's a lot to it. What do you suggest to people that are struggling in their business, entrepreneurship wise, to build their team, deal with the challenges in the environment, the Amazons of the world? You're trying to sell clothing, Amazon's moving in next door. They're building a brick and mortar clothing store. They already, closed down malls across the country, right? What do you tell people that are competing? Obviously, even the car dealership industry is running into this, where you got these car dealerships online, Carvana, all these things messing with the traditional model, Tesla selling their. What do you tell people how to actually build these businesses that are threatened every day and build networking when it seems like everybody wants to sell you something? How do you create these relationships? And I heard a little bit of it in how you are looking into and serving each of your kids differently. I imagine that's part of the answer for folks that are trying to build their businesses.
It's definitely part of the answer, and it's difficult, Cameron. And this season for me has been really difficult. Clubhouse and Breakfast with Champions, it blew up, and it blew up fast. And I had run a company with 300 employees that I got to spend time with every single day, and got to shake hands with, and look eye to eye. And what we've been doing with Breakfast with Champions has been completely different. It blew up to literally, over 100,000 people in the community rather quickly, and trying to find ways to serve all of them. I admittedly have struggled over the last year, and I've been working on that. And really what it comes down to is people want to feel seen, heard, and significant. As when it comes to the business side of things, with all of the different variables, what I am working on is just getting very, very clear on your core values, getting very, very clear on our target. What's the target? What's the direction? Where are we trying to go? Connecting with those that are doing the things that we want to do, right? That have reached those levels that we know we can reach, connecting with them, finding ways and opportunities to serve them, right? And hope you're on mute, Kim.
Just to pinpoint that, because I think that's something that people are trying to do. Okay, I have a mission. How do I find those people that are tied into? So do you ask people that specific question? Because I think it can be that easy. I don't know if there's other tips and strategies around that, but is that a major part of how you're connecting with people? Are you asking them, are you aligned with my vision and goals? Because I think it takes two things to do that, right? One, you got to know what your vision and goals are. And then two, you got to know to actually implement that in your connection strategy, right?
Well, yeah. And it's a little bit deeper than that. It's before the ask, making sure the people that you're asking are aligned with your vision and your goals, right? Like, just because somebody's a shiny object, and that might be an opportunity for them to elevate you or collaborate or so on and so forth. If you see they're not aligned, like, we don't reach out for the collaboration. For example, not to use specific names or anything like that, but part of our brand is very family oriented, right? And so I know that every morning with my show, I know that there are children that are listening in the back of the car as mom and dad are driving to work. And so I know those things. And so I don't reach out to, again, not the same names, but any of these influencers that are, their brand is, I'm going to drop F-bombs every other word. And that's cool. Like, I don't have a problem with that. There is a space for that. We're just not necessarily aligned with where we're going. And so I wouldn't reach out to that person just because they got 2 million connections, because they're not aligned with what we're trying to do. And so I think it's important to do your research ahead of time. And you shouldn't have to ask that question. You should know, use your core values and your mission or your message to narrow the field of who you should reach out to, right? Then when you reach out to them, you already know that they're aligned, and you don't have to make them uncomfortable. They don't make you uncomfortable. But really, in the ask, Cameron, I think that it's important that a lot of people, again, it comes down to the words that we use, right? And so the ask should not be what they can do for you. The ask should be, will they allow you to do something for them? That's what the ask is. And so when we reach out, it's hey, Cameron, I see that you're launching a new book. I would love the opportunity to introduce your methods, your ideas, and your message to my audience. Would you be interested in allowing us to spotlight you on our show and help you promote your book, whatever it is, that we're doing, right? And so we're asking them to be on our show. Yay, come be on my show. But instead of just saying, hey, will you do this for me? We're saying, hey, can we do this for you? And here's how we could do it for you. And then it's a much easier conversation. People respond much better to, I would like to introduce you to or highlight you to a new audience than they do, hey, will you just come be on my show? Or will you come do this thing for me? You know what I mean?
To help people that don't understand the sales component to that, right? The finance, the monetization piece to that. When you are creating that relationship to sell a service, is there a twist on that?
If I am creating that relationship to sell a service,
you're a dealership, you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to sell a service.
Yep, it's the same. It's the story of what they're going to get. What is that potential client going to get? And this goes to your Amazon question. And with all these big corporations and so on and so forth in the field drastically changing, the companies that will win are the companies that know how to tell the story of what the consumer gets. So you need to position yourself as a solution to a consumer problem. Now, we don't want to create more problems for the consumer. We want to be the solution. But the only way they know you're the solution is if you can tell a story that they can connect with that helps them to identify they actually have a problem. Because a lot of people don't even know that they have a problem. So right now in our automotive space, we talk to our dealers and we let our dealers know, like, hey, we can help you avoid, and sometimes we use some strong language in the automotive world, but we say, our intention is to help you continue to cement your legacy moving forward in a season of corporate giant slaughter. And that's literally the word that we use. It is a bloodbath out there with Tesla, Carvana, these multi-billion-dollar companies that are coming in. And we work with small, I don't want to say small, but dealerships that are typically family-owned and operated for the most part, right? They've been in the family for generations and generations and generations. And so we've identified that, hey, our dealers need some help battling against the big bad Rivians and Teslas and all these Silicon Valley companies that have billions of dollars, where we only have maybe millions of dollars, maybe only hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so we talk to them, Cameron, and we say, hey, we're not here to blow smoke up your butt. I'm here to because I know you're concerned about your legacy right now. And I know that I can help you cement that legacy. I can also help you battle the corporate giants out there, right? And in the end, you're going to stand true and proud and be able to carry on that family name, because I know that matters to you. So we tell that story of what they're going to get in the end, and that's how we're able to serve our clients best and get them to do business with us.
And just for folks that are looking for a little bit of what that story sounds like, I'm a mom and pop shop, I'm battling against the economies of scale. What does that look like in a customer service kind of thing? How do you go into a business and make them competitive and successful in this environment?
We actually use now you're digging into some of my secrets here, Cameron. We actually use part of what we do is we use what I call the NFL model. Okay, so the NFL, if you think about the NFL, The NFL is now worth, last I checked, it's probably bigger this year, but they were worth $76 billion, right? Now, my guess is that number is way enhanced because they killed it this year. They added extra weeks and extra days, and they're just taking over everything, right? So, but if you think about it, this company that is worth $76 billion, Cameron, is filled with a bunch of sweaty, overgrown dudes chasing around a oblong-shaped piece of leather. They're playing a game. Now, there's lots of games out there that aren't worth $76 billion, right? So what did the NFL do? How are they telling a better story to where they used to own one day of the week, now they own 3, right? How are they telling a better story than the NCAA, Major League Baseball, NBA, any of these guys, right? Any of these other organizations? And here's what they're doing. If you notice, the NFL has certain key components. They have players. They take the helmets off and they tell the story of the players. NFL Films, since 1973, has been telling stories of the players, the backstory, where they come from, the knit and grit, what they overcame, the hero's journey, what they're doing now, how they're serving in the community, how you don't see the football player, you only see him on the field hitting people. You never see him anywhere else but on the field hitting people. Any other time you see him playing with a kid, he's throwing a kid up in the air. He's at his old high school. He's pouring into the little kids. He's serving at a soup kitchen, right? Like they've taken their players and turned them into these humans that we have a heart for. And we're like, oh my gosh, I love that human. I love that story. I can connect with that. That person's like me, right? And then I want to buy their jersey. I want to go to their game. I want to follow them all around. I want to watch them. I want to see their stats, right? They've done all of those things by telling the story of the players. Now, they also have a scoreboard. A lot of the success that we had at the dealership that I ran and that I work with my dealerships now is by posting the scoreboard. People like to do business with companies they can get behind. They want to be a part of the team. So you got to show them the scoreboard, right? So that they can feel like they're contributing to something. So every Monday at my dealership, I used to make a post. And the post would say something about the weekend or something about whatever. Oh, this is amazing. I'm telling a little bit of a story. And then I would say, and here's our top 5 individuals. Cameron leading the board. He's the current MVP. You know, Jonathan has got this number. Joseph's got this number. And I would show these stats. And then I would say overall new car sales, this number. Overall used car sales, this number. Goal, target, right? I'd give them stats because people love stats. That's why everybody's playing fantasy football and all this stuff, right? So my players got highlighted. People got to know my players better, right? There was stats for people to follow. One time we were trying to sell 10,000 cars in the year. I can't tell you how many customers came in and were like, you guys get to that 10,000 yet? Did you get to that number yet? Right? Because they wanted to be a part of something epic, record breaking, something cool, right? So we literally take components from the NFL who has successfully captured the world's attention, highlighting our players to tell the story through them versus through us. And this is big, Cameron, and I'm going to wrap it at this. There's a lot to this. But I'm going to wrap it at this. A lot of times as owners or as business owners or as we're building our business, we try to put ourselves or our brand as the heroes. And it is the biggest mistake that you can possibly make in your business. When I see a dealer, for example, who gives a charitable donation of $25,000 to some local organization, and I see a picture of the dealer holding this big $25,000 check and all these poor people around him, I go, you're telling the wrong story, bro. We got to put the people that we're supporting, that have put together this organization, that drew us into where we wanted. Let's put them up front and let's start standing in the back, right? Let's tell their stories, not our stories. The people that are building your company, your employees, tell their story, not your story. You're the successful business owner. Nobody cares, dude. Let's just be honest. Like nobody wants, and no offense let's not get too racial here or anything, but the rich white dude standing in the picture handing out a check, ain't nobody cheering for you, bro. I'm just telling you, ain't nobody cheering for you. They're cheering for the underdog. They're cheering for the comeback story, the comeback kid. And I only say the rich white dude because you know how business is today in America. It's a little bit weird. But what people want to see is a story, an epic hero's journey. There's actually a book about this, right? They want to see the epic hero's journey. So you as a business should be telling the story of your employees and the opportunities that they've created for you. And when you turn that camera around from pointing on yourself and start pointing it at those people that elevate your business and make it more powerful, that's when you win. If you notice, you only see the owners of NFL teams in one shot every game up there in the owner's box, and they're cheering for their team. That's the only time you ever see NFL owners. You always see the players because that's who people connect with. So there's some of my NFL strategy. I hope.
Man, Tracy's in the chat here. She's saying absolute gold. I agree. You inspired me to tell them, I've thought about it before and I haven't implemented it. So I'm going to start telling more of my employees' stories. I love that. It's not easy to do. I think there's a reason people don't do it. It's a little bit harder. It's a little bit more challenging. It means you got to get your team members to get involved and really push their stories to the forefront. But I think that it makes a huge, huge, huge difference. I'm so glad that we were able to give this information. If you aren't already introduced to Glenn, I'm so glad I got to introduce you to Glenn today. So excited, Glenn. Thank you so much for doing this for me. You can go to the Morning 5, right? Is it themorning5.com?
Yeah, morning5.com. You can download my free ebook, breaks down the 5 simple steps to an extraordinary life. And it's a great way for us to start our relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to throw that on the screen again. Remember the Morning 5, no snooze, no phone first thing in the morning, gratitude and goals, take care of the physical, send out an encouraging message, which is my absolute favorite part of that. When I heard it the first time, I was like, that is such a game changer for me to send out a message to somebody every morning, lifting somebody else up. I talk about it all the time. When somebody gives you the gift of a compliment, it is such a wonderful thing. When somebody sees something special in you and they actually say it, it doesn't live in their brain. They actually say it. They give the compliment. Such a big deal. Glenn, I encourage everybody to check out your show, Rise and Grind. You can find it on Facebook. I know it's on LinkedIn. I know it's on YouTube. Go and subscribe to that channel. Glenn, you are a star. So glad that you're on with me. I'll let you have the final word and I'll play us off with the Biz Dev Live theme.
Oh, thanks, brother, man. I just appreciate you sharing this space and time with me. You guys are amazing. Look forward to connecting. Take care.
Biz Dev Live, Biz Dev Live. Weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Live. Biz Dev Live, Biz Dev Live. Weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Leadership and motivation. Empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, Biz Dev Live. Business development, not even selling it. Biz D with C. Brought to you by Cameron T.